Hello, friends. Hello, friends. A few days ago, I shared a video on my channel about what happens when a person dies, which got me thinking. Why don't we make a video on what happens when a person sleeps? Because many people often confuse the two. What happens when a person dies and what happens when a person falls asleep? We have different notions about them, so let's break them down. First, let's understand what is happening when someone dies. Different traditions, philosophies, and sciences explain this in very different ways, depending on whether you're asking from a spiritual, religious, philosophical, or scientific perspective. Here's a clear breakdown. When a person dies, religious or spiritual views. Different religions have different views. Buddhism teaches that there isn't a permanent soul, but consciousness continues as a stream of causes and effects, eventually leading to rebirth. In Christianity and Islam, it's believed that the soul separates from the body and goes to an afterlife, which could be heaven, hell, or an intermediate state before the final judgment. According to Hinduism, the Atman or soul leaves the body and is reborn into another life through reincarnation. In some animist and indigenous beliefs, the spirit may stay near to the people and nature it was connected to while alive, or it might travel to a special place where ancestors live. Other beliefs hold that the soul reunites with a higher power or the universe. Afterlife beliefs vary greatly between cultures and religions, but generally include some form of an after-death realm or state of being. Now, from a more philosophical point of view, some believe that the self we think we are is actually just our consciousness, which is dependent on our body for existence. That means when the body stops working, consciousness stops too, and there is no self anymore. Others believe that awareness is one of the most fundamental aspects of the universe, and that it's always there, even if we can't see or measure it directly. They believe that while our physical bodies might die, this underlying awareness continues on. Then there's the scientific perspective. From what we know about human anatomy and how the brain works, when the brain stops sending signals to the rest of the body, the person dies. So in a way, death is when all biological functions in the body stop. Consciousness, with all its parts like thoughts, perception, and awareness, also stops. The idea of an afterlife or continuing consciousness after death isn't really supported by science. Sometimes people have experiences that feel like they're having an afterlife, like when they almost die and come back to life. These are called near-death experiences, but these experiences can be explained by what's happening in the brain right before and while someone is dying. It's not proof of an afterlife. Now let's talk about what happens when a person sleeps. Again, we'll look at it from religious, spiritual, philosophical, and scientific points of view. If you ask religious or spiritual leaders, some might say that when a person sleeps, their soul partially travels. Some believe that the soul leaves the body in the form of a dream, kind of like astral projection. They believe that the soul goes on adventures in other realms of existence. Other traditions say the soul journeys to other dimensions or planes of reality while the body rests. For example, in some indigenous cultures, the soul might visit the spirit world or ancestral realms during sleep. In Buddhism, dreaming is seen as a way the mind creates experiences from memories and emotions stored in the mind stream. They don't believe the soul leaves the body even in dreams. From a more philosophical point of view, some believe that since consciousness seems to be a fundamental part of reality, it doesn't really go anywhere when we sleep. Instead, it changes the way it works to create the dream world. Some philosophers suggest that dreams are a kind of separate reality or a parallel universe that exists alongside our waking world. While others see them as a reflection or distortion of our waking world, they believe that dreams show us how our minds work and how we experience the world in unusual or indirect ways. Now let's look at it from a scientific point of view. During sleep, consciousness doesn't go anywhere. It simply fades away. Our brains still work, but in a different way. While we're awake, our brains process lots of information from the world around us. But when we sleep, our brains focus on making memories and clearing out unnecessary information. This helps us store important things we've learned and get ready for new experiences. Sleep helps us heal and restore our brains and bodies. We don't need to be aware of this process. Our brains do it automatically. We can also learn a lot from what happens in our brains when we dream. Dreaming mostly happens during rapid eye movement sleep, or REM sleep. That's when our brains make new connections between different parts of the brain. These connections help us make sense of our experiences and emotions. Dreaming gives us a chance to try out different situations and feelings in a safe space. Some scientists even think that dreaming lets us practice solving problems we'll face in real life. Dreams can be strange and wild, but they're also a way for our brains to organize all the information we take in while we're awake. So when we dream, our brains are busy sorting through our memories and getting ready for new experiences. Dreams can be a lot of fun, but they're also an important part of keeping our brains healthy and working well. So that's what happens when we sleep. Now let's wrap it up. When someone dies, many believe in an afterlife or a time after death. The soul travels or goes somewhere else. But this isn't proven scientifically. Some say the soul leaves the body, while others think it stays in the body, or even becomes one with the universe. Different religions and beliefs have different ideas about what happens after death, but in general, it's a journey or transition into a different state of being. On the other hand, when we sleep, our souls don't travel. It's just our bodies and minds resting. Our brains become less active, but they're still working to help us remember things and get ready for new experiences. Dreams are a big part of sleep, and they're a way for our brains to process our emotions and memories. I hope you found this explanation helpful. If you want to learn more about these topics, leave your comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.